Good evening. So, I don't know where in the world you're listening to this right now, but it's sometime just shortly after midnight, and most people are sleeping or doing something that's way more exciting than me, who just got home from work, which is actually pretty awesome because working in a restaurant, that's pretty unheard of that on a Saturday night I would be in my house just after midnight. So, that's awesome. But like I said, it's my goal at this point to do as much live video and chatting as I can, and hopefully kind of expand my reach to a lot of people and maybe inspire people and be able to kind of just talk it out and see who maybe I can influence. And so part of what I wanted to kind of talk about tonight was something that's pretty close to home for me. If any of you haven't read the article just yet, I recently had something posted in Elephant Journal, which is, for anyone who's not familiar, it's yoga, meditation, and health and wellness. And so I had an article posted there, and that article was talking about depression, which for most people would have no idea that I suffer with depression, and I have for over 10 years, definitely over 10 years, since I was in high school. And there's been times when it's been better and times when it's been worse, but it's a pretty ongoing thing for me. And it was interesting because after writing that article, I had a lot of people come to me and be like, I had no idea that these are the things you're feeling. I had no idea that this is kind of what your experience was with it. I just had no idea. And I mean, it was a little bit funny to me because I thought, well, yeah, of course you have no idea. It was never really my intention to be like leading with that in my life and making it something that I identify myself with. So why would you? But I understand that for a lot of people, it's kind of like, oh shit, you seem like you're a happy person. Things seem to be so good for you, and blah blah blah. I don't know. So that was kind of one of the things that I definitely wanted to address when I was writing that article. Which is, well, number one, I mean, it's not like anybody walks around with this massive sign that says, like, shit sucks right now, I'm having a hard time in my head, or I'm just not feeling good, and, I need to talk it out, or I need to go and cry, or something, whatever. Like, nobody walks around with that, so of course it's not like, looking at somebody, you're going to realize that, which is one of the things that's so amazing about people in general is that, we're all very quick to make these assumptions and to think that we can figure somebody out just by looking at them, that that you've kind of assessed them out and you get them and you know their story. So I think it's really interesting. And one of the things I appreciate about getting to talk to so many people is that you really have no idea what somebody's gone through or is going through or, is kind of fighting with. And I think that that's why things like mental illness, especially so depression, anxiety, those things are not really something that you necessarily see. And I find that really interesting because I do have a lot of friends who also suffer from depression or who have anxiety, social anxiety, or different things that affect them. And it's not like you would tell, because in everyday situations, it's not like that's something that comes up. So I think that that's something that's pretty interesting, is that you wouldn't know and you wouldn't see it. So for me, that's obviously been something that not a lot of people have probably noticed about me right away, is that it's something that I've dealt with. Everybody on my dad's side of the family has depression, is on medication, has been on medication, should be on medication, but everybody's dealing with something. So that's been kind of huge for me because genetically that is a huge factor. But also there's just been a lot of things, I think, especially growing up in an alcoholic home, and a lot of the things that have kind of happened to me as a young adult have been pretty impactful, and a lot of it has been pretty tricky. So that's definitely added to the feelings of depression. But then there's just things where, I mean, I could be low in nutrients, and there's been times where I probably haven't taken the best job of making sure that I was getting all the vitamins and minerals that I needed, and especially as somebody who doesn't eat meat and should be getting sources of fish oil from something else, or just making sure that I was high on my omegas, which is really great for the fat in your brain, or vitamin D. This has been pretty important for me and something that I haven't always addressed fully. So anyways, it's one of those things, like I said, it's pretty tricky because you wouldn't know having a conversation that that's necessarily something that's been there, but there's definitely been different points in my life where it's been pretty bad. Like I said, when I lived in the Middle East, it was pretty bad. It was a pretty tough time in my life, and thank God for my best friend and her being there, because she was like a rock to me and some of the things that I was going through. So that's definitely been a tough one. But part of why I felt it's so necessary to kind of have this conversation and have this, not only because it's identifying with just who I am as a person and things that I've had to deal with, but also for anybody who's out there going, I feel like I don't know where to go with my life. I feel like I don't know how to get help or how to even address it. And so that was why one of the things that really kind of spoke with me in conversations that I've had with other people, and being like, this is something a lot of people deal with. So I'm more than happy to give you guidance and direction and things that have definitely worked. Like I said, for me, as somebody who's never been on medication, it works for some people. It wasn't necessarily a road that I wanted to go down. Not to say that it wouldn't be impactful, but for me, my medication is and has been supplements. So like I said, lots of vitamin D. I take about something like 6,000 IUs of vitamin D a day. So that one for me is huge. And then taking fish oil. Also speaking with a counselor or somebody who you trust and can have open dialogue with is definitely really important. And it's been a really good tool for me throughout my life. Going to something like AA or an Al-Anon, and I know that that's definitely a little bit more directed to people who might be dealing with situations of alcohol, but they're also really great rooms to kind of just, sit back and as an observer just to have conversations, or just to even listen to other people's conversations and kind of tune in and be like, okay, yeah, the situations are different, but there's a lot of underlying themes that might be similar. So that one has definitely been a really cool learning tool for me. Not that I suffer with alcohol addiction, but I've sat in on a lot of AA meetings, and I find it just absolutely profound to just listen to other people's stories and realize that it's different, but in a lot of respects, it's pretty similar situations in some of the feelings. So that's been a really cool tool as well. So journaling is a huge one, and making a gratitude list. And I think that all of that goes into trying to change your state of mind. And as somebody who's, sitting there feeling like, well, none of this shit is going to change. I don't feel like my mindset is going to be different. It definitely helps to try to start to reprogram your own thoughts. And so a lot of that is what you see every single day, for example, when you wake up. For me, in my room, I've got this huge vision board of the things that I want for my life, and I've got a mantra of things that, I tell myself on a regular basis, just reminding myself that these things are important and things that kind of resonate with me. So that one is a really powerful tool as well. And then just making your home a place that feels empowering and feels motivating to you. Definitely helps when that's the kind of things that you're seeing on a regular basis. So also something I recommend is having that dialogue with yourself and having that reinforcement within your home, because that even just to wake up to it and see it is a really good motivator. So all around my house I've got different things that remind me like, all right, yeah, this is what you want, this is what you're striving for, this is what success looks like for you, this is what happiness looks like for you. And that one has been very, very powerful for me. So I left the link here for the article that I've written, because I'm not going to go into all the details of everything that's there. But there are a lot of different ways in which you can kind of have great resources that could be very helpful for anybody who might be struggling and might want alternatives. So I am definitely somebody, if you ever want to have a conversation, I can give you a lot of good advice or lead you in a direction that maybe can help you on your own journey, whether it's anxiety or depression or any kind of emotional well-being issues that you might want to address. I'm very, very happy to have that dialogue at any point. So I am more than happy to have somebody reach out to me, and if there's any questions that you want to ask or something you're maybe not sure of, I'm definitely open to giving you a little bit of direction. So again, this was just a very brief kind of overview of what that article was about, and if you haven't had a chance to peek it over, and if this is maybe something you're curious about, or anybody that you know who might have something that they're struggling with, I highly encourage you to go there and have a little read and see what you think. And again, like I said, if you have any questions or there's something that I can help you with, my life goal is definitely to help other people. So I hope in some way this has given you a little bit of insight, and if there's anything I can do, just let me know. So again, thank you for hanging out, and I appreciate you listening in, and I will see you soon. So good night.